Welcome. This video is over percent, so let's look at our number routine. If the monthly income of the Brooker family is $2,000, how much will they spend on food that is 25% of the budget? Many ways to do this. Previous day, you used Fraction Tower to help you solve this. So let me get my pen. So, Fraction Tower. So we know that we could break this into 4 parts. So this represents 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. So if we have $2,000, how can I break this up into 4 parts? That would be $500, $500, $500, $500 for each part. Another way to do it is we know 50% is $1,000. So 25% is half of 50%. So what's half of $1,000? $500. That's another way you could do it. So what is 25% of 2,000? $500. So let's watch this video. Let me get the sound ready for you.
Sorry, I want to give you a tip. It's just difficult to figure out what 15% of $4.85 is when somebody's looking at you.
Oh, that is so true. When people are staring at you as you're doing your math. I completely agree. So what is 15% of $4.80? So you are given some fraction towers. You're given a picture, many ways you can do this. How are you going to solve it? Well, welcome back. Now let's see how you're going to approach this. So one way you can do it is looking at a fraction tower. So we know is 100%. This whole thing represents 100%. If I broke this into 10 equal parts, that's 10% in each section. So it's $4.80. What percent? The whole bar. So how many dollar amount would go for each 10%? $4.80 divided by 10 is 4 times. 10 goes to 88 times, so that's 48 cents. So every 10% represents 48%. But what if it's 5%? What is the relationship between 5% and 10%? 5% is half. So what's half of 48? 24 cents. So 10% is 48 cents. 5% is 24 cents. So 48 cents plus 24 cents adds up to 72 cents. So what is 10%? 48 cents. What is 5%? 24 cents. So 15% is that. So that's how I did it. So again, this represents 100%. 480 is the whole amount of the tax of his taxi bill. If I broke it into 10 parts, that'd be 48 cents for every 10%. So 5% is half, which is 24 cents. Together adds up to 72 cents. So we are going to be working on what we just with fraction towers, and we're going to be working on ratio tables, and we're also going to be working on mental math. Miranda bought a lipstick for $4. She saved 10% by using a coupon. How much money did Miranda save by using a coupon? Well, hopefully, as you were picking it up, you found these bars. 1/10, if you look on the other side, they are flippable. You flip it around. It should say 10% on the opposite side of it. So this whole bar represents 100% or $4. What would each, you know what, I'm going to write it this way. So this whole bar represents 100%. So we need to figure out what 10%. So let me show you what 10, this one right here. So she spent $4 on the whole lipstick. She saved 10% by using Kiva. How much money did you save? So how would you approach this? Well, as you can tell, it is broken into 10 parts. So 100 divided by 10 is 10%. What is $4 divided into 10 parts? Can 10 go in 4? 0 times. Can 10 go 40? Can't make 0. That's why I did that. So each 10% represents 40 cents. To check my work, if I don't trust myself, what is 50%? 40 cents, 40 cents, 40 cents, 40 cents, 40 cents is $2 or 50%. Another way we could have solved it is using tables such as this. How do you break down 100% to 10%? Divide by 10. Divide by 10. 4 divided by 10 is 40 cents. So here's how we saw it. So we had used this tower, or we could use this one. So we know this represents 100% or $4. So I broke this into sections of 10%, and $4 divided into 10 sections is 40 cents. So 100% is $4. 10% is 40 cents. Let's try another one. Tickets for the school movie night sale for $5 each. There is a 20% discount for purchasing movie tickets early. How much money will Charles save by purchasing a ticket early? So there are many ways to solve it. We can use our fraction bar to solve it. So I'm going to move this. Whoops. Let's move this right here. So this whole bar represents 100%. If you turn this bar over, it should say 20%. So how much did the whole ticket cost? $5. So 100 was divided into how many sections? 5 sections. That's 20%. What is $5? And I distributed the same dollar amount in each section, so it's equal. $5 divided by 5 section is $1. $1, $1, $1, $1. So every 20% represents $1. So how much money will it save? $1. Here's how another way to do it. This represents 100%. I will break it up into 5 sections. So it would be, each section will be 20%. If the ticket costs $5, what's $5 divided into 5 sections? $1, $1, $1, $1, $1. So using mental math, 100% is 5. This is another way you could have done it. Maybe you prefer, oh, before we do mental math, let's look at a table here. How do you break down 100% to 20%? Divide by 5. Divide by 5, and that's where you get $1. Or you can do it this way. 100 divided by 20 is 5. 20 divided by 20 is 1. So in this one, so we know 100% is 5. If I broke up it into 10 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and each represent 10%, what is $5 divided into 10 parts? 5 divided by 10, it would be 50 cents. So if every 10% is 50 cents, 20% would be $1. That's another way to do it. Next one. Alice spent $8 at Perry's Steakhouse. Really? I went to Perry's Steakhouse. I don't know. So she must have gotten bread or something. So let's move this over. She tipped the waiter 25% on the $8 bill. How much did Alice tip? So let's get my pen ready. So this represents 100%. 1/4 is 25%. And she spent $8, which is the entire bill. So what is 25%? So I divide it into 4 sections, 100% into 4 sections. That's why it's 25% in each section. What is $8 divided into 4 sections? $2. So every 25% is $2. That's one way to solve it. Some people may solve it this way. How do you break down 100% to 25%? The relationship is divide by 4. 8 divided by 4 is $2. So let's look at this one. So 100% of 8 is 8. What would 10% be? So if this represents 100% and this represents $8, if I broke this into 10 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, 4. So each one represent 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%. What's 100 divided by into 10? How many 10% goes into 100? 10 times. So we need to break it down by dividing by 10. What is 8 divided by 10? That is 80 cents. And what is 5% of 8? If 10% is 80, 5% is 40. So what would 25% be? So 10% is 80, 20% is 80, that's $1.60, 5% is 40, that's $2. So that's another way we could do it. 25% of 8 is $2. The tax rate for Elenco, Florida is 5%. If you buy $6 shoes, how much tax will you pay? So if you look at here, there is no thing that's close to 5%. The closest one is I cannot move this for some reason. The closest one is 1/10. So this represents 100%. So this says 10%. 1/10 is 10%. And a shoe costs $6. So how can I break up the $6 into 10 parts? What is $6 divided by 10? It is 60 cents. So every 10% is 60 cents. So what's the relationship between 5% and 10%? Divided by 2, so it would be 30 cents. Another way to do it is, how do you break down 100% to 10%? Divide by 10. And what is $6 divided by 10? That is 6 divided by 10 is 60 cents, so 5% would be 30. And the last one. So again, many ways to do this. I will show you this one right here. It's already been built up for us. So it's 100%, 10%. If I divided $6 into 10 parts, 60 cents. So 100% would be $6. 10% would be 60 cents. 5% would be 30 cents. So an alternative we're going to be learning is something called using ratio tables, using a part, whole, equal percent over 100. So let's practice this question now. So there are 3 ways you can solve this, using a percent bar, mental math, or a ratio table. Market researchers estimate that 70% of junior high students in the United States own a cell mobile device. There are 300 children who are junior high students at Typhoon, Texas today. How many of them would you expect to own a mobile phone device? So this represents, let me get my pen ready. This bar represents 100%. And there are 300 children here. So I need to break this bar into 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each part represents 10%. 10%. 10, 10. And I'm going to quickly do this. I'll just write 10, 10, 10. Each part represents 10%. What is 300? How many students will go in each section? How can I divide the 300 students into groups of 10%? So 300 divided by 10 is 30. So it's 30 students for every 10%. So using this, let's figure it out. 100% of 300 is 300. 10% is 30. 70%. So 70% goes from here all the way to here. So every 10% is 30. How do you build 10% to 70%? Times 7. So 30 times 7 is 210. And that's how you do it. But maybe you don't prefer this way. So we did mental math. We use a table. Maybe you prefer something called a ratio table, called part whole percent over 100. So how many of the students are junior high students? 70%. How would you write 70% as a fraction? 70 out of 100. 300 represent the whole. That's everybody who was at the park. What is the relationship between 100 to 300? Times 3 times 3, 210 is the answer. We could have also gotten it this way. How do you build 100% to 300? Times 3, 10%. How do you build 10% to 30? Times 3. Another way we got, yep. So, sorry, this is 70%. So we know what 70%, 100%, 300. How do you build 70% to times 3? That's 210. And our last example, Mr. Rouse surveyed his class of 140 students. 75% of his students like gummy bears. How many students like gummy bears? So it's 75%. Do you know any benchmark we can break this bar into? Do you want to break it into groups of 10s? But then if you do that, it doesn't really go to 75. What about groups of 25%? So this represents 100%, which is 140 students. So we are breaking this down into groups of 25%. So 75% represent all of this. So if you have 140 students, how many students would go in the first section, the first group of 25%? So 140 divided into 4 groups. 4 goes to 14 3 times. 4 goes to 25 times. So it's 35 students for every 25%. So 35 students, 25%. 70 students, 50%. 105 students, 75%. So 140 represent 100%. 25% is 35. 75% is 105. What if you don't like these ways? Maybe you prefer something more mathematical using a percent form. So 75% of the students like gummy bear. How would you write that as a fraction? 75 out of 100. They represent 140 students, which is everybody. Can 100 go into 140? I mean, it can, times 1.4 is a scale factor, but we would like to simplify this. I'm going to divide by 5. Divide by 5 is 20, and this is 15. How do you build 20 to 140? Times 7 times 7, and that's 105 out of 140 students who prefer gummy bears. And that is our study of finding a part of a whole.